How Washington fell in love with his best friend's wife. George Washington once fought for the British. He inadvertently sparked off a world war. He was in love with his best friend's wife. He grew hemp and ran a spy network. Here are some more little-known things. Before Washington led a revolution, he was a soldier. At 21, he was an officer in the Virginia militia. The militia supported the British in their skirmish with France. Washington led an attack on the French in the Ohio Valley. A French noble was killed, which enraged France. Joseph Coulon de Villiers was a high-ranking diplomat. The conflict soon escalated into the French and Indian War. Then it spread worldwide, sparking the 7 Years' War. Washington's love affair with Martha Custis is well known, but she wasn't his first love. As a teenager, Washington fell in love with Sally Fairfax. She was married to his best friend, George Fairfax. Washington wrote her passionate letters, but Mrs. Fairfax never reciprocated. She only instructed him on social graces and dancing. Washington had more success in the Revolutionary War. He was a cunning spy master, as well as a general. Washington managed an entire spy network. They used code names and wrote letters in invisible ink. They infiltrated British society. Even the CIA recognizes Washington's espionage efforts. The U.S. military posthumously awarded him a unique rank. When Washington died, he was a lieutenant general, but he was also the father of the U.S. military. So a special law was passed in 1976. It awarded him a unique rank, General of the Armies of the United States. Washington never really wanted to be president. After the war, he hoped for a quiet retirement, but he felt the call to serve the new country. He worked with the Constitutional Convention. That's when he was offered the presidency. Washington agreed out of a sense of duty, but privately, he was upset. After he did retire, he had many hobbies. Washington had a whiskey distillery installed at Mount Vernon. It distilled around 12,000 gallons a year. Washington prided himself on his product. It was closer to moonshine by modern standards. However, it was perfectly legal and taxed. Washington was also a hemp farmer. Of course, the hemp he grew was not for smoking. It was used to make rope, paper, and other products. He also grew corn and wheat. Washington was also America's first mule breeder. In 1785, he received a jackstud from King Charles III of Spain. Washington quickly realized the usefulness of mules. He began breeding them on his farm. This had a lasting effect on American agriculture. There's a myth that Washington had wooden dentures. He did wear dentures after cracking walnuts with his teeth, but they weren't wooden. Washington had a lot of dentures. They were made of ivory, cow teeth, or lead. The dentures were the reason why he rarely smiled. Washington was prone to bouts of illness. On December 14, 1799, he was treated with bloodletting. This was a common practice in the 18th century. Physicians drained 5 pints of blood from Washington. This may have contributed to his death. He died the same day, aged 67.